Okay, so this is how I created the moving platform in my game. This was a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be a quick, easy thing that I can make, but it turned out to be a bit of a pain. So this is it. The bird jumps on, and he can jump back off. Oh, there we go. So you can tell it's still a little bit buggy. It's not quite perfect. It works okay. It's not great, but it gets the job done. So the way I created this was, let's see, so I went into my environment, I pulled the sample ground here, like I did before. I put on the following components, right? I added the usual box collider, 2D. I made sure to, let's see, where the little, go down, okay. Under constraints, I had to constrain the Y and Z rotations, as well as zeroing out the gravity scale on it. So this prevents it from moving at all in the Y direction. I did freeze the position in the Y direction at one point, but yet it was still being affected by gravity, so it was still being pulled down because of the rigid body over time. And then by freezing the rotation, it keeps it from doing any weird spinning things. Although that could be an interesting thing to have if you wanted it to spin. You could, I guess, not have that. And then it has obviously the box collider with the auto tiling and the tiled draw mode, which allowed me to easily expand it from being this small to a little bit bigger, so it's easier for my character to jump on there. And then in the scripts, I have a specific script that's for the platform. The platform script is actually fairly simple, ironically enough. This isn't the complicated script. So there's the first a variable that you need is a public static float called the platform speed is what I called it. I put it towards 3. I put it pretty slow. You have to make sure this is a public static float because I need to call to it in another script, which means it needs to be public, and it needs to be static, so it needs to make sure that it's not actually changing in the scripts. And I also have a private rigid body here. I have the rigid body getting the component method. I explained that in the previous video with the player movement. On the update, it's getting the rigid body velocity. It's getting the new vector platform speed, which is just 3. And then that's in the X direction, and then the Y direction, it is 0. So that way it's definitely still not moving in the Y direction. So there's no velocity being applied to it there. And then on collision, enter 2D. So this is how I'm getting it to move back and forth. So right now, if I was to just have the update function, it would just keep going to the right constantly. It would not go back and forth left to right as it does right now. So right now I say if collision.gameObject.tag is equal to the ground, the platform speed is equal to what the current platform speed is times -1. So I'm saying whatever it is, times it by -1. So if it's going left, to make it go right. If it's going right, make it go left. And that is how I'm getting it to go back and forth. So that is the easy part. The complicated part is getting the bird, ironically, to stay on it. So if I don't have it connected to the bird script, the bird will fall right off of it. So in order to keep the bird on it, so the bird's movement doesn't take into account the platform's velocity, right? So the way I was getting the bird's velocity was getting the horizontal input, and that doesn't work very well. So what I have to do essentially is get another variable, which is what I call the float stay on variable. This stay on variable is, it says plus stay on, and the stay on variable let's see, I gotta go down here. So it only happens pretty much during collisions. So here, so if collision, so if platform, so pretty much it's saying right here, if it detects a platform collision, the stay on variable is equal to the platform speed. So I'm just referring to the variable right up here in the public static float platform speed from the original platform script. So I'm saying whatever that velocity is that the platform is, add that to the velocity of the bird. And yeah, so I thought just by adding that would work. However, that doesn't account for if you stay on the platform going left and right. So if it's changing direction, because this update, this stay on isn't actually changing. So you have to have a function here which is changing, which accounts for the changing of the platform speed, which is down here. So pretty much all this is doing is a lot of code just to say that if we are moving right and we start moving left, make sure that the speed, the stay on variable is switching negative or positive values. And that will keep the bird going and staying on the object. And finally, this collision right here that is the last collision that I need in order to keep, in order to zero out that stay on variable, is right here, which is the collision.gameObject.tag is equal to the ground. So anytime my bird touches the ground, anything that's tagged as the ground, it will zero out that stay on variable. Pretty much everything is being tagged as the ground, including, ironically enough, the platform is being tagged as the ground. However, because the platform is also the platform, it is adding into the speed as well. So it's zeroing it out and including it, which is weird, but it ends up working. The reason why you need to zero that out is if you don't zero it out, you will continue to add the velocity. So I can show you right here. So if I comment out this line of code and I save it and I go back, so by zeroing out that line of code, essentially it's going to keep that stay on variable and continue to add it to my velocity of my player after I get on the platform, even when I get off the platform. Oh, please make it. There we go. So right now, so I'm not touching the keyboard right now, but I'm still moving left. And yep, still moving to the right. Oh, yeah, now it's just doing really weird things. I'm not sure what it's doing actually now. Yeah, so it just does really weird things if you don't zero it out after getting on the ground. Actually, it might just be copying the platform still. Oh yeah, it is literally just copying the platform exactly now. So yeah, you have to zero it out afterwards or else it does odd things.